Oh my god, hey! Welcome back to my Stagey YouTube channel. If you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Mickey Joe and I am obsessed with all things theatre. I am a theatre critic and YouTuber, usually based in the UK, but right now I am in the middle of my first ever trip to New York to see a bunch of shows on Broadway. This is my stagey boyfriend Aaron James and we are going to be visiting the Museum of Broadway for the very first time. So this is a relatively new attraction here in New York, celebrating all things Broadway. We've been given free access to go and have a look at the museum today and to make content and show you what is inside. So come with us to the Museum of Broadway. Okay, so the first thing you see as you go inside is this gift shop space. We stand on the shoulders of those who come before us. I love the decoration in here and I love everything on sale. We have things from currently running shows like The Lion King and Aladdin, but then we also have some stuff from recently closed shows as well. We have some 1776 merch here, K-pop and Take Me Out down below there as well. There's merch here from Chicago, from The Music Man. This tote bag is super cute. We have Hamilton, obviously. We have And Juliet, Phantom. We have MJ the Musical. Over here there's Hadestown. There's Wicked, of course. Funny Girl. We have books here about Broadway as well and about specific shows. There is also, of course, Museum of Broadway merch. We have t-shirts, we have socks, we have mugs and stationery, we have a long sleeve top, we have caps, we have various different caps, we have mugs, we have this little Broadway passport that you can get here with stamps. There are also some exhibits right here in the foyer. We have a signed hat as worn by Ben Vereen in Fosse, and then the hat and shoes Ben Vereen wore in Pippin. There's a picture of him there. Over here we have some concept art from the revival of the Apple Tree, and then we have some set model boxes as well. This is from Curtains, and then up at the top here, Dames at Sea, and then down on this side we have Be More Chill. So as you approach the entrance to the museum area, we have this very cool sort of mirrored seating area. There we are. Hello! You can pose over here with all this gold glitteriness and these amazing lighting features. And we also have a giant model of an American Theatre Wing Tony Award. Look at that. Does it spin, I wonder? I daren't spin it. Okay, so before you start going around, they do have this area before the start with lockers if you need to store any stuff. And there's a lot of photo ops, so you probably don't want to be carrying that much stuff. Aaron is modelling the water fountain. The water fountain and bottle filling station over here, and even down here we have really cool artwork. Squigs. This is Chicago over here. This is a Squigs caricature, and all of these playbills adorning the walls. So we're on our way up to the start, and there are so many cute details even here in the stairwell. We have these sort of backstage shots on the sides, and we just had a 5-minute call announcement come through this tannoy here. Some more backstage shots here, and this is a cute detail. This is clearly a staff-only door, but they said stage hands only. I see what they did there. There you go. Place is cool once you get to this level of the stairwell. This is so cute. We have this beautiful sparkly red wall here with Museum of Broadway on it. So then we get to the Playbill Hall in here. This shows everything currently running on Broadway. And you can see which theatres at a glance are dark as well. That's a really interesting detail. So I've just noticed not only do we have the Playbill artwork and then details about the show and the location of the theatre, there's even a link on each of these where you can buy tickets. That's a lovely little detail. That's very clever. I've just been walking around these benches as well. This is an actual bench used on stage in the musical Jersey Boys. Literally everything here has been placed with care and detail. And then once you're finished in this room, you can go through this door here that says, let's start at the very beginning. Okay, so we're in a projection room now, and we're gonna see a short film on this here. We also have some things of all of the Broadway theatres, and behind me, a little map of the locations of all the Broadway theatres.
The city's early theaters were primarily built downtown, where most people had settled, in what is known today as the Financial District and Chinatown. In the period between the American Revolution and the Civil War, the arts in America began to flourish, and Lower Manhattan became increasingly crowded. Oscar Hammerstein I was instrumental in the theater district's move to Midtown. Opening in 1895, the Olympia Theater at Broadway and 44th Street, just around the corner from where you're standing right now. By the Roaring '20s, there were more than 70 theaters in and around Times Square. The end of World War II led to another boom period that many refer to as the golden age of Broadway. Over the last 2 decades, Broadway's theaters have been constantly filled, and there's even a waiting list for incoming shows. Thank you for visiting the Museum of Broadway. We hope you enjoy your time here and that you leave with a new and exciting appreciation for the wonderful world of Broadway.
So after that short film about the history of Broadway, we get the timeline of Broadway, dating back quite a long time, starting here with 1732. And on the other side over here, we have some real artifacts and relics, a lot of these from around the turn of the 20th century. This here is a souvenir prop from the 150th performance of Men and Women from 1891. So then we arrive at our first sort of exhibit room, all of the pink feathers. So over in the corner here, we've just been told these are some original Ziegfeld Follies costumes that are over 100 years old. It's amazing that they are preserved as well as they are. And these were found during Disney's renovations of the New Amsterdam Theatre, sort of accidentally. And it's really quite incredible to have these historic pieces on display here. And they are just stunning. So moving on into the next room, the theatre timeline continues, and we have the beginnings of musical theatre as we know it with Showboat, one of the first musicals, and a little exhibit in homage to Showboat here. This is an art installation representing a tree trunk depicting 95 years of Showboat, because I'm guessing that's how many rings there are to the tree trunk. That's very clever. So over here we have some iPads on a wall, and you can do the Showboat AR experience, and as you point it at the wall is coming to life. And up here from the Library of Congress we have a program from the original production of Showboat. This is a real piece of history here. I find myself now in a cornfield. No, it's not Shucked, it's Oklahoma. Continuing with some classic musicals. We have a barn set up here. We have a little old black and white documentary about Oklahoma playing on a hay bale behind me. We have original programs and photographs and lyric sketches from Oscar Hammerstein. Oh my gosh. Look, this is Oscar Hammerstein coming up with rhymes for the word sorry for the song Sorry with the fringe on top. That's incredible. And here's the music to go with those lyrics. This is original manuscript from composer Richard Rodgers. Here we have a little section dedicated towards the Tony Awards, which began in 1947, and we have some little artifacts. We have an actual Tony Award on loan here from the American Theatre Wing. We have red carpet passes from the Tony Awards and programs, a ticket for the Tony Awards, and a menu for the annual Tony Awards. What do they serve at the Tony Awards? Let's see, I'm seeing bagels, I'm seeing croissants, I'm seeing smoked Nova Scotia salmon and Tattinger. Wow, you would expect nothing less. I love any museum that has these little spinning things here. You can see the shows. That's a photo from the very recent revival, directed by Daniel Fish. And then during the original production, a backstage photo. I love this comparison of the shows through the ages. You can really see a journey that some of these shows have been on. That's Mary Martin in South Pacific. Some original sheet music for the song Carefully Taught. This one here I particularly like. This is Julie Andrews in the original TV movie of Cinderella, Rodgers and Hammerstein version, subsequently remade with Leslie Ann Warren, then remade with Brandy and Whitney Houston, finally coming to Broadway in a new version starring Laura Osnes a few years back at the Broadway Theatre. But I just love how you can see the journey of this show right here with just a spin. Onwards from this next room we go to West Side Story and the iconic drugstore that features in the show. On the walls here we have an original playbill from the original production. We have photography from that as well, and it's just very cool how they've themed this room. We have this old-timey jukebox here that features the music of the show. In here we have an original Jets jacket worn by the first replacement Tony in 1960. That's a whole recreation of the bar here, complete with bar stools and complete with more little pieces on the wall. And in this cabinet here we see the legendary creative team, including a very young Mr. Stephen Sondheim over here, joined by Arthur Lawrence, Hal Prince, Leonard Bernstein, Robert E. Griffith, and Jerome Robbins. In the corner over here we have a whole dance floor section where you can dance along to different numbers that are shown on the screen here. They're very optimistic about my dance ability, but maybe we'll give it a go. not going well. It's not going well. Moving into the next room, we have sections on Fiddler on the Roof, showing a little documentary about it here. We have Hello Dolly all across this wall, and we have this from the revival. This is a headpiece that was worn by Bette Midler, Donna Murphy, and Bernadette Peters, and this is Bernadette Peters' gown from when they starred in the revival of Hello Dolly on Broadway. This is a lovely touch, some more pieces of history down here. These are all telegrams that were received by Carol Channing, the original star of the original production of Hello Dolly. No stone is left unturned here as we show many of the musicals and plays from the intervening years between each exhibit. I see some familiar faces. I see Barbara Streisand down here. I see Elaine Stritch. I see Carol Burnett. And up here, I of course see Ethel Merman. So this picture of Ethel Merman with the dog is of course from Gypsy, and this is a photo taken during rehearsals for Gypsy on Broadway. And if you don't know who that lady is in the middle, that is Gypsy Rose Lee, the real life Gypsy Rose Lee. Next up we have reached Cabaret. There's this amazing installation, and you can move these chairs and pose with the chairs and the hats in front of this lovely Cabaret sign with these mirrored sections on the ceiling. Even the chairs on this installation I was showing you just before are from the Roundabout Theatre Company revival of Cabaret. I just sat on one of these chairs. I assumed these were just regular chairs. How foolish I was. Meanwhile, over on the other side, we have another documentary here about Cabaret and these costumes from the Sam Mendes revival. I would recognize these anywhere. Even this curtain in the background is an artifact from a Broadway show. This is from Prince of Broadway, the show celebrating the work of Hal Prince, whose voice we were just hearing on this documentary, playing over here. So you do have to look at absolutely everything because there's so many details and little things in here. Everything is taken from somewhere and there's so much to read. Like, we're passing through a lot just so we can actually get through the thing. So past some more information boards and a tribute to Hal Prince over there, we go from Cabaret to the 60s. We have arrived at Hair. I love these murals. These are so cool. These costumes are from the Broadway revival of the show in 2009.
That's from the original.
Which piece is from the original?
It's from the military jacket.
The military jacket is from the original production of Hair in the 60s. You have to give these mannequins hair. They have to have hair, otherwise what is the point? And they have this very fun swing that you can swing on. Yay! Oh gosh, not that much. That's too much swinging. I've snuck into the bathroom because all the bathrooms here are themed as well. This one is all about Sweet Charity. This is literally a Sweet Charity themed bathroom. We have a playbill framed here on the wall. We have this cute little mirror set up. We have this wallpaper. We have backstage photos. I love that. Even in the bathrooms, attention to detail. In the next room, we begin to pay tribute to the legendary choreographer and director Bob Fosse, pictured here with his muse Gwen Verdon. Shown here, two of Bob Fosse's Tony Awards, one of them for dancing, which is currently being revived on Broadway at the Music Box Theatre right now. Okay, I just about died because this is an interactive Sondheim anagram puzzle. It gives you clues and you use these magnetic tiles to put them over here. Let's see if we can do one. While creating this musical, Sondheim spent several days at the Art Institute of Chicago. That's Sunday in the Park with George. 3 down, Aaron. Sunday in the Park with George. Then through this very well lit passage, as you can hear company beckoning, we have the set pieces from the recent revival starring Katrina Lenk on Broadway. Look at this neon here. Wow. You are even allowed to sit in this sea and take a picture as modelled by the lovely and handsome Aaron James.
It's quite good. It's actually really good.
Should we get one for the flat? Is that what you're saying? Who needs seats when you have seas? So this is, of course, the costume worn by Katrina Lenk in the 2021 revival of Company on Broadway, the iconic jumpsuit with a birthday cake there, and then we move into another part of the recreation of the iconic set here with this cute little door and these 35 balloons. So I've just been told this whole section was actually designed by Bunny Christie, of course the set designer for this recent revival, and we can see images here from not only that revival but also revivals past. Here the John Doyle production with Raul Esparza and cast, and even the original production here from 1970. Moving into the 70s now then, we have Chicago, we have Pippin, we have the revival of Gypsy there with Lansbury, we have all the shows you would associate with the early 70s. Then just over here in the corner, we have a whole section dedicated to The Wiz, another interesting documentary that you could stand and watch. We have this costume here, a dress worn in The Wiz live. In that TV version of the show, we have some images from the original production and a playbill there, as well as a news cutting. And then my favorite part of this section is the stairs down to the next section. We have this amazing ease on down the road neon sign, green every which way except for the stairs themselves, which are a yellow brick road leading you to the next part of the Museum of Broadway. At the bottom of the yellow brick stairs, this is all about a chorus line. I love the way that they have shared all of these pictures and pieces and lyric sketches. I love that they've done it as the headshots that the dancers hold over their faces in that now iconic image that you can actually see over here. There it is. That is the picture that's being emulated with this whole wall. Here we have the original set model from the 1975 show, as well as shoes worn by Michael Bennett. Are you kidding me? A top hat from the finale of the original production, and female finale shoes from that original production as well. But that is not all. On this wall over here we have finale costumes from the original production, and this one in particular, I gasped when I read what this was. This was the finale costume worn by Kelly Bishop in her Tony Award-winning performance in a chorus line. I am obsessed with her, so that's very exciting to me. How's this for Days Gone By? This is the then sales board prices for a chorus line back in the mid-70s at the Schubert Theatre. Quite different to the prices you might see today. And we couldn't talk about iconic chorus line costumes without including Cassie's red dress, complete with the music playing from above and the mirror behind it. Then as you leave the chorus line mirror room, make sure you don't miss Annie just to your left. The sun will come out tomorrow, whether you like it or not. There is an iconic red Annie dress, as worn in the show on loan from Goodspeed Musicals. These are notes and a collection of artifacts from the original Annie dog trainer, William Baloney. That is so cute. Say hi to the kids for me. P.S. Send a picture of Sandy back. That's so cute. Moving into the late 70s, from Annie to Ain't Misbehavin'. We have this amazing section here. This is so cool. And then we have a wall all about jukebox musicals. So we have various different jukebox musicals here, showing you the different types of jukebox musicals that you can see. Some with an original story, some based on a film, some based on the life of authors or performers, and I would recognize this outfit anywhere, as I'm sure you do as well. This is a jumpsuit as worn in Mamma Mia in 2001. As well as this very cool piece here, this jukebox with various different records coming out of it that I believe are all records from artists whose music has been adapted for the stage. I'm seeing ABBA, I'm seeing Bob Dylan, of course, Girl from the North Country, I'm seeing Motown, but we also have some more costumes. This is from Rock of Ages. Then over the other side, no conversation about jukebox musicals would be complete without Jersey Boys, and this iconic costume with these now iconic red blazers, as worn in Jersey Boys in 2005. Moving from the 70s to the 80s, we are now seeing Cats. This is not a costume I expected them to be showcasing from Cats, but this is one of the Siamese cat costumes worn in Cats. And then we have these concept art design sketches here that are also on sale in the gift shop as postcards and on t-shirts. This section is then entirely dedicated to the Public Theatre, the birthplace of a great many shows. We have a costume here from The Pirates of Penzance, as worn by Kevin Kline as the Pirate King. This outfit at the back here was worn by Meryl Streep. Oh my goodness. And we can see her wearing it in a print on the wall right there. That is a young Meryl Streep appearing on stage. As we move into the next section, there is an incredibly moving and profound exhibit dedicated to the impact of the AIDS pandemic on the theatre community. We have a quote here from Larry Kramer. All of the names shown here across the wall give you a sense of the devastating scale. In the corner of this room, we have this section here all about Angels in America, the epic play from Tony Kushner, charting some of the AIDS crisis. And then on the opposite wall, we have the AIDS Memorial Quilt, featuring all of these shows, and then a little bit here about the important work of Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS as well. If you can hear me over the Phantom of the Opera, we have some artifacts from the 80s. That's Patti LuPone's hat and tap shoes from the 1987 revival of Anything Goes. Jane Krakowski's Starlight Express roller skates from the same year. And then on this wall, the very recognizable Sunday in the Park with George. As the final note of the title song of the Phantom of the Opera rings out, we have a piece here dedicated to the British invasion of Broadway with Sir Angelo Weber and Sir Cameron Mackintosh. And then some costumes over here from that era of the mega musical. So this is Patti LuPone's Evita wig, a brooch worn by Glenn Close in Sunset Boulevard. These are the pair of silver candlesticks from Les Miserables. This is a gown here from Evita. This is absolutely a Jenny Anydots costume from Cats. And then I recognize these ones as well. We have Kim from Miss Saigon over at the end there. And this was a Jean Valjean costume worn by Ramin Karimloo in the 2014 revival of the show on Broadway. This is a monkey music box from the Phantom of the Opera, which is hilarious because a lot just like this is auctioned at the beginning of the show. And then in this very gothic section here, we can see costumes from the show as well. This is, of course, the Christine dress and cape from Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again. This is the Red Death costume. You can see all of the details of the mask and the hat. This is such a gorgeous, gorgeous costume. And then this is one of Carlotta Giudicelli's costumes over here. We have the Museum of Broadway's deconstructed crystal chandelier, an homage to the iconic chandelier. This installation here is made up of almost 14,000 crystals. So when you stand on this spot on the floor and look at it this way, I'm hoping you can see this, we have a mask, everybody. I didn't even notice this. We now move from the 80s to the 90s. This section is dedicated to Bring In Da Noise, Bring In Da Funk. We have this little installation here on the walls, which is very striking and cool looking. And then no conversation about Broadway in the 90s is complete without Rent. We have a whole section here dedicated to the Tony and Pulitzer Prize winning musical written by Jonathan Larson, Rent. This, of course, is Mark's costume from Rent, as worn in the Broadway production. As with all of these exhibits, it's the details that make it cool. We have the quote written on the wall over here, the opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation. And we have a little cow, a little Elsie. We have a section here all about Jonathan Larson. We have a letter here that he wrote to Stephen Sondheim. On this wall here, more pages of scripts, rehearsal schedules, news cuttings, and then of course, more iconic costumes. This is an angel costume worn in Rent. I had never noticed these details on it before, but look, we have pictures of Anthony Rapp, Adam Pascal, and Daphne Rubin Vega as Mark, Roger, and Mimi. Were these always in the show? Further up, as Seasons of Love plays behind us, we have Roger's and Mimi's costumes from the show as well. And then recreated on the wall, handwritten notes by the writer Jonathan Larson. Just there behind the Roger costume is written Steve S and then a phone number. Is that Stephen Sondheim's phone number? So this is very cool. If you press these buttons here, different images from the original Broadway production flash up. So you just saw Anthony Rapp, whose solo show we saw a couple days ago, currently playing off Broadway. And we have the rest of the cast as well. And then what you're seeing as well is black and white footage from Finale B. We also have a set model from the show over here and a projector from the original production. And then some footage playing on the wall up here as well. I love how every room is so well themed to each production it's showcasing. Next up, as Circle of Life plays behind us, it is of course The Lion King on Broadway, the hugely successful and long-running Disney theatrical stage musical. We see some of the set here. We see, of course, these iconic masks and costumes and puppetry pieces. You can scan this here for Simba and Nala mask Instagram filters as well. We have a gazelle wheel set model from the original production and an elephant graveyard set model as well. Here you can see visionary director Julie Taymor designing one of the masks to be used in the show. But of course, there were many other shows in the 90s as well. We have a costume here from the 1992 production of Crazy for You, designed by William Ivy Long. We have some things here, some shoes worn by Miss Adelaide in Guys and Dolls. We have the Tony Award presented to Ragtime, a signed playbill there from Ragtime as well. We have some manuscript. We have a tin signed by the cast of Crazy For You up top. We have Crazy For You's Tony Award. And then this other costume here is a gorgeous dress from the revival of Kiss Me Kate. This particular one was worn by Carolee Carmello after she replaced Marion Maisy in the role in the 1999 revival. This is the door of Max Bialystok's office, also pictured on the original artwork and the playbill for the musical The Producers. So on the other side of the door, we have a whole room dedicated to the producers. We have the desk, we have the chair, we have all of the Tony Awards in this cabinet. 12 Tony Award statuettes on loan from the American Theatre Wing. Not the actual Tony Awards it won, but representing the amount of Tony Awards that it won there. We have a set collage from the producers. In this cabinet here, we also have a set model from the original production, a signed photo of Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, another set model study. And this down here is actually the original movie script from the film that the musical was based on from 1967. Some real artifacts here. On to another Tony Award winning show from the early 2000s, Avenue Q. We have a set model here, the original Broadway model at the John Golden Theatre. And then we have these puppets. Look at the puppets. This is, of course, Kate Monster and Princeton. Opposite Avenue Q, we have a section dedicated to Spring Awakening. And there's these little chairs with microphones you can pose on. Get yourself comfortable. Yeah, angsty and grungy. That's it. While all I ask of you plays in the background. Okay, this is one of my favorite things so far. This is a scale model of not just the set of Wicked, but the whole of the Gershwin Theatre. So obviously you can see the stage there. We can see some people sat in the auditorium. We saw Wicked the other night and we'd have been sat somewhere around here on this inside aisle. You can see some audience members are holding playbills being handed out by ushers. You can obviously see the cast performing on the stage. Detail I love, we've got a wheelchair user here in a wheelchair space. You can see the playbills down there. People buying merchandise from the gift shop. This actually exists in the Gershwin Theatre. This is the foyer space down here with people coming in. This is actually in the foyer. I took a picture of this the other day when we were arriving. Those are the escalators that you go up to get to the auditorium itself. Some other fun little details. You can see stagehands pulling on things there. And also up here we see spotlight operators and other members of the crew as well. We can peer into the orchestra pit to see the conductor and the band. And then as you walk around this, it's not just the stage, but we see these backstage offices. This is a space used for rehearsals, evidently. We have Elphaba and Glinda dressing rooms. We have a green room down at the bottom here. And then we have the whole of the backstage area. So you can see quick changes happening. You can see set pieces coming in and out as moved by the crew. We can see other scenes in the flies waiting to be dropped down onto the stage. We see this substage level here. It really pays tribute to all of the work that goes into creating these huge, huge Broadway shows. Some more set pieces being flown in there. You can see the actual marquee on the front of the theatre, and then more backstage spaces up here, including a set model box within a set model box. I love that. That is incredibly meta. That's amazing. This is an absolutely incredible creation. As we approach the modern day, we of course have to include Hamilton, a hugely influential recent musical, in an exhibit designed by David Corrins. So we have original costumes, we have the original pair of boots worn by Lin-Manuel Miranda, we have some props from the show here as well, and then over here, costumes worn in Hamilton. This is, of course, Eliza's costume on the right. Next up, we go into this amazing room with all of these costumes. So this is, of course, the Boleyn costume from Six, designed by Gabriella Slade. In the front here, we have Sarah Bareilles' costume from Into the Woods as the baker's wife. This apparently is one of the more recent additions, as is Alex Brightman's Beetlejuice costume here. In the back row, we have costumes from A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder and the recent Broadway play Take Me Out. This red outfit in the back here is the one that Sutton Foster wore in The Drowsy Chaperone. In front, we have one of Hermes' costumes from Hadestown, presumably as worn by Andre de Shields. Yes, it was. Then we have a costume worn by Glenn Close in the revival of Sunset Boulevard. Behind that, a costume from Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Next one, the gold pants give it away. This is one of Hugh Jackman's costumes as Peter Allen in The Boy from Oz. I love the shoes. And then we have a costume worn by Daniel Radcliffe in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. in the back corner. This apparently was worn by Jennifer Hudson in the revival of The Colour Purple. And then finally on the swing here, we have Satine from Moulin Rouge. And then we have this corridor down from this section here with yet more show posters on the walls, taking us into the next area downstairs. So this section is a tribute to the backstage areas of a theatre. We have an informative video up here telling us about stage management. We have a little feed of Aladdin here. We have some props, information here about stage management, hours and duties, and you can actually see, if you look over this way, through these fake little wings set up here, into a little theatre area showing you different auditoriums. So that's the Longacre Theatre being shown there right now. And that's the Hudson, and it's going to rotate and show you various different ones. Then we have another amazing room. We have more informative videos on the screens dedicated towards the writers of shows. What are we seeing here? Is this Hadestown? This is some Hadestown sheet music here. We have Suddenly Seymour behind it. We have various pages. I'm seeing Blackout from In the Heights. I'm seeing The Inheritance by Matthew Lopez. So this section over here dedicated, of course, to composers at a piano, and this section over here dedicated towards the writers and the dramatists. We have this little walkway section here, and each arch is dedicated towards a different show. Then we have Into the Woods from 2022, the Rocky Horror Show from 2000 on this artwork that you can see here. We also have Kinky Boots, Legally Blonde, Hairspray, She Loves Me, You Can't Take It With You, and Lucky Guy. We then arrive at the stage I was showing you through the wings moments before. Aaron is posing on stage here, looking handsome, with a Broadway ghost light. So this section is dedicated to lighting, projection, and sound. And we can see there a 3D projection mapping for Beetlejuice. And again, a nice little informative video telling us more about sound design, lighting design, and projection. There's this cool installation here with a grand piano you can pose and take pictures with. And then this mirrored section along the back here, that's Cheetah Rivera as Anita. How do I know it's Cheetah Rivera? Because she is wearing only one earring. Rita Moreno wore two in the film. I read about that in Cheetah's biography recently. And then we have a little ballet bar on the mirror here. Again, it's these little details that I really love about this place. Next up, we are talking about scenic design and props. And we can see these little pictures of a scenic design. That's from Plaza Suite there, that picture that you're seeing. We have some sketches from the Lehman trilogy. That's a little part of the set model, a drawing room from On the 20th Century. Just over in the corner here, that's from Be More Chill on Broadway. Then we have all of the concept art and the set model boxes. You're seeing Avenue Q up there. We just passed August Osage County, Warhorse. This is some stuff from the Book of Mormon. Up here we have some pieces from Aladdin, some more pieces from Aladdin right up at the top there. We have down here the Dreamgirls set from the 80s. We have the 2016 revival of She Loves Me down here. That's a gorgeous set. We have the Hadestown set design. Look at that one. That's particularly cool. We also have the original production of Hairspray on Broadway, and then this very cool set for the semi-immersive staging of Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. You've got to really lean into this one to get a full sense of how much it transformed the theatre that it was in. Up at the top there, Victor Victoria, the split level set. I'm going to lift up the camera so you can see. Next, we have this station here all about hair and makeup. We can see some different makeup charts for some different shows. That says Carousel Lindsay. I'm assuming Lindsay Mendez in Carousel. We have some Cats makeup charts here as well. Scar placement for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And then I spy Patti LuPone's wig from Company, that iconic bob. Some more costumes here as well. We have Greg Barnes's beautiful costumes for Follies, complete with headdresses as well. And then up there, just so many hats and headdresses, more costume sketches, and look at these phantom masks. This next room is dedicated to the prolific artist Al Hirschfeld, whose art can be seen all over these walls. We have Liza Minnelli, we have Stephen Sondheim. So in reading this section here, Nina was Al Hirschfeld's daughter and he liked to hide her name in different artworks. So a fun thing you can do is walk around this room and see how many Ninas you can spot. Sometimes there will be a number next to his signature. This one says 3, and that tells you how many times you're looking for the word Nina. It appears once here, it appears there as well. And the final one, oh, I did see it, there it is. Nina down the side there. You could spend a long time in this room looking for all the Ninas. There you go. 2 here on the arms there. Even the Hello Dolly image here has Nina on both of the gloves. There's one more toilet for me to investigate. Let's have a look. And here it is. How else would you theme a bathroom? Of course, this one is dedicated to Urinetown. P-free, it says. And then just as we started with a quote from The Sound of Music, we end with another lyric, So Long, Farewell, from Oscar Hammerstein II, and farewell from the Museum of Broadway. Thank you for joining us at the Museum of Broadway. We were in there for, I think, 3 hours, all in all, about 3 hours, which is why my camera died and you're now seeing it recorded on a phone, but I hope you enjoyed nonetheless. If you've been to the Museum of Broadway already, comment down below with your favorite part of the exhibit. If you're considering going, I can thoroughly recommend it. It was amazing. It was a theatre lover's dream. There's so many details and things I would have loved to have read and watched if we had literally all day to spend here, but you can easily kill a few hours even if you just breeze through, because there is honestly so much, so many different musicals represented. Your faves are bound to be there. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more Broadway vlog content about all of the days that we spent in New York. There are so many videos coming. I've been filming everything. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of that. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day. For 10 more seconds, I'm Mickey Joe Theatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!